What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Review for Solo Leveling Season 2. This is episode 2, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Yeah. So the continuation of from the last episode, with with the main characters being stuck inside the Red Gate, dimension. Um, I have to say, like, you even by the end of the episode, you have to start questioning, Junu's morality at this point.
Yeah, he did in Season 1, like, uh, it's weird because, there was that one moment in Season 1 where he was, like, hesitant um, to kill those guys that were, trying to trap him in that dungeon and, trying to kill him, but now he just really doesn't have any hesitation when it comes to killing somebody. I mean, granted, like, yeah, they were trying to kill him, but yeah, I don't know. I wonder if that's like a plot point they're going to go into, is that, like, yeah, Jinwoo just seems to not really care, whoever gets in his way, he just, he won't hesitate to kill them.
Well, here's the difference between, like, him killing Kim Chol in this episode. It's just like it's under different circumstances. Because,
well, killing him and making him a part of the Shadow Army.
Yeah, but Kim Chol's circumstance is a little bit different than in comparison to, like, to Kang Tae-shik and then Hwang Dong-suk, who they initially wanted to kill Jinwoo for their own reasons, but for Kim Chol, he wanted to get back at Jinwoo just because, like, he felt like, I don't know, Jinwoo could have done more to help, him and his squad out, initially, rather than, like, splitting up. I mean, granted, it was Kim Chol's decision to have them split up in the first place, but with Jinwoo being as powerful as he is right now, he could have, I don't know, there's a chance he could have helped those guys out, rather than just going off on his own, uh, you know, to level himself up and then, like, killing the ice bears and then taking them as his own, adding him to his army too.
Yeah, I mean, well, with how powerful he is now, I don't really think he'd have much of a problem if he decided to, I actually just, like, join the other team. But yeah, I mean, regardless, he was fully prepared to kill him. So, I mean, Jinwoo was at the end of he was really just defending himself.
Yeah, yeah. It's a pretty unusual circumstance, based on where they were at, considering that, it's like the Red Gate is similar to that whole double dungeon incident. I mean, you would think that, with Sung being involved with, like, something similar to this, you think he would go out of his way to at least save as many people as he can to, to at least spare them the same fate that he could have had. But then he just allowed them to just, go off, go off in their separate ways, and then it literally just gets slaughtered by these ice elves.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's just more out for himself, if anything.
Yeah,
like, which does kind of seem in contrast to how he was initially, I guess, is that he did seem to want to, save his, any of his comrades, but now at this point, it seems like he doesn't really care. He's, like I said, he's pretty much just out for himself, and
he's not entirely out for himself. He's
he still has, like, well, like, yeah, his family and all that, but anybody who's not, who's not his family or even really, his friend, he doesn't really seem to care about.
No, but overall, I mean, it was still a great episode with how far Sung has come, ever since the first season. I mean, season 1 is like, we said this before back in season 1, that it felt more like a long drawn out prologue season. While this one, it's really starting to kick in that, to see how much more powerful Sung Jinwoo has become, since the first season. I mean, now he's leveled up significantly. He can hold his own in almost any one-on-one battle at this point. And with his shadow army, he can, pretty much like he's getting even more overpowered the further he gets. The further he gets. But there's still limitations too by the end of this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of funny to me because most of this episode is him fighting off the I guess the guy who's the leader of the Ice Elves. At first there was this other guy that we wanted to challenge him, who I guess was maybe like the second in command or something, but he immediately gets dispatched. Like before they even start fighting, just Jinwoo just goes and cuts off his head, and then I guess the real fight is just him versus the leader of the Ice Elves.
Yeah,
where his shadow army deals with all the other elves that have come with him, and then at the same time, also, we mentioned the I forget the guy's name, but Kim
Chol.
Kim Chol. He charges towards him with pretty much with the intention to kill him, but he doesn't really stand a chance. Like he immediately gets stopped, and he gets killed off pretty quick too, and gets turned into another like one of the soldiers in Jinwoo's shadow army, who for some reason, I'm not exactly sure why he takes this form. Like he's this giant, like he's like a giant golem, I guess. I don't really get that, but he basically, like, that's his form in his shadow army, and I guess it's somewhat convenient it worked out that way, because he ends up sort of pushing back the leader of the Ice Elves to the point where Jinwoo was able to kind of get the upper hand, I guess, in his fight against him.
Yeah. I mean, he also had Igris alongside with him too. So it was basically like by the end of it, it was more of a 3-on-1 fight. Well, with the Ice Elf leader Baruka, like fighting by himself. Since his entire band of Ice Elves were pretty much slaughtered by this shadow army.
Yeah, and also meanwhile outside the gate, I guess there was going to be this. A fight with Dong Suk and the other guy who's like I forget his name, but the guy who's like I guess
his name is Baek.
Baek. They were about to fight, and they get stopped, of course, before anything happens. But once Jinwoo and the rest of his party make it out of the gate, he gets confronted by Baek because he notices that the others aren't with him, and he pretty much demands that Jinwoo tell him what happened. But Jinwoo just, I guess, says, like, you should be thanking me that the rest of, I guess, the people that came back with him were even came back alive in the first place. So he decides, I guess, to relent and, thanks him for that. But I just thought it was pretty funny that now Jinwoo is at the point where he doesn't really care. He'll just stand up to one of the, I guess, this guy who's pretty high-ranking official, I guess, in the Hunters.
He's an S-rank hunter for the Hunters Association.
And Jinwoo's technically an E rank, even though he's supposedly like a lot much more powerful than that.
I mean, at this point, you could say like Jinwoo, if he's confident in going, in like talking back to back like that, like he has to be S rank at this point.
Yeah, but then after that he takes what was it? Sunga's friend back to her house. I forget what her name is too.
Gina's friend back home.
Or not? Yeah. Gina's friend. It seems like I guess it's sort of just played up for comedy, if anything. Like I get the feeling she kind of has somewhat of a crush on him or something. Of course, this leads to a misunderstanding later, where that one guy from season 1, like this is the first time he showed up in season 2.
Yeah, was it Jinho?
Yeah, Jinho. He misunderstands because of their interactions, but at the same time, like she, when they arrive at her apartment, it's funny to me because she does like come out like it looks like she's wearing like eyeliner and stuff. Like she definitely put on makeup to make herself look more presentable. So I can kind of understand why he would have a misunderstanding about that, but. There's just kind of some comedy with that, and I forget what else happened. I think that's
well, there was a little comedy bit with with the Shadow Soldier
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just because like the guy, the shadow of like Kim Chol, who gets named Iron now. He's just like Iron, like has his own like, I guess you could say his overly aggressive personality when he repeatedly just smashes the corpse of the Ice Self, until
Hmm.
Genu stops him, and then like it gets into like a little like funny interaction between like Iron and Igris, and then him trying to shout at like three of the shadow mages that he's next to. So it was, yeah, it's I will reveal this, like, that there's a lot more like comedic personalities with some of the shadows that you will see. Since I did and end up reading the manhwa further ahead, so you'll be seeing a little bit more of that with the shadow personalities.
Yeah. Um, yeah, but I thought it was a pretty decent episode for the most part. I mean, it seemed like it wrapped up pretty quick with what happened inside the gate, and of course, Jinwoo is just showing off how overpowered he is at this point. So I'm kind of wondering if he's actually going to end up facing an opponent that will actually give him, actually sort of give him some trouble, like where he'll actually have trouble with like trying to fight them,
Well,
especially now that he has a shadow army. I mean, the only limitation with that, it seems that if he runs out of mana, then I guess that they will just maybe like just despawn, because it seems like that's the only way that they'll go away. So I don't know. I'm wondering if there's going to be an opponent that will try to maybe somehow take advantage of that fact. Like maybe they'll figure out that that's how they work and try to exploit that. Maybe that's the only way I can see somebody like trying to somewhat get the upper hand on Jinwoo.
well,
Um,
it's the thing. One of the weaknesses that we keep seeing about with Jinu is that he gets overconfident at times. As the
yeah,
more powerful he gets. I mean, he nearly got killed by that Cerberus beast from season one, just due to the fact because he thought he could get through it, but he barely got through that fight. Same thing when he was fighting against Igris by the end of season one. But with him being like, I guess you could say he's gotten a little bit more powerful, since completing this red gate, and then not to mention the fact that he keeps adding more and more, victims into his shadow army, which will
that's the other thing that's kind of broken about his ability too, is that he can just keep doing that.
yeah, well, depending on if he's powerful enough to actually succeed in getting him into his army, because
Yeah,
he was not able to extract the shadow of Baruka by the end of this episode.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I thought it was a fairly decent episode. I'm kind of wondering where the plot's going after, since I guess this this situation's already like wrapped up by this episode. So I'm wondering where it's going to go from here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, the thing is, like, Juno's been trying to keep this whole leveling up thing a secret, but at this point, with
yeah,
Beck like confronting him and seeing how powerful he believes he is, like and plus like the fact that he wants him into the guild now, so it make because with someone like an S rank hunter taking notice of Jinu's abilities, there's no way Jinu can keep this whole thing a secret anymore.
yeah, and obviously like the other members of his party when he was in the gate, took notice of his abilities too.
Yeah,
So it's really hard for him to hide. Really, for him to hide that.
yeah.
Um,
Eventually, like, Jinu is gonna end up getting reevaluated, and well, and minor spoilers that he's no longer gonna be officially labeled as an E rank anymore.
well, yeah, I mean, he really shouldn't be. I mean, I don't know how he would keep trying to fool
No.
people into thinking he is.
Yeah, I mean, with everything that's happened, in this Red Gate, and people like like a good amount of people taking notice of like how powerful he is. There's only a matter of time.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't have anything else to say about the episode, though. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
It was a good episode. I mean, technically, I did watch this episode alongside episode one in the theatrical release. The only minor
Mhm.
difference is is of course that epilogue scene by the end of that episode with that funny interaction
It,
with,
yeah,
Yeah,
I did hear people on Twitter saying that was different.
yeah, that it was added for that episode. It's that scene is technically anime original, by the way. It's like I don't remember
Yeah.
reading
Oh, we
that.
did have some of those in season 1 too.
Yeah, yeah, they did have some of that. I mean, of course, the S rank hunter appearances in season 1 were anime original too, because technically, like the S rank hunters weren't supposed to be officially introduced until like at this point of the story. So we will get like a lot more of the S rank hunters, like Becky and Ho, Chahayin as well. So we will get to see him again, in the next few more episodes.
Yeah.
But I think if I can remember correctly, where the plot is headed next, Jinu is going to end up going back to that same dungeon where he fought the Cerberus beast, in order to progress to get more materials to create a cure for his mother's condition.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so that being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.